we are setting conditions for our as HR professionals across the Army to take care of the rest of the force.
Wherever you find American troops today, you'll find the men of the Transportation Corps. Enough and on time. That's the story we tell you today. The story of the Army Quartermaster Corps.
These youthful servicemen are members of the Army's Military Police Corps.
One of the most important forces behind the line, the Army Ordnance Corps.
Welcome to another episode of the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. I'm your host, Major Javon Starnes, the PAO for 19th ESC. So as we were preparing for this episode covering IPPS A, I wanted to basically get a better understanding for myself. So I did some research. I Googled it and come to find out there is a website covering IPPS A. Not only is there a website, but they have a podcast specifically dedicated for IPPS A, training resources. They also have YouTube videos that I watched. And I wanted to make sure, talking to the subject matter experts that we have with us today, being Mr. Michael B. Cannon and Chief Corey Bollinger, the 19th ESC Human Resources Technicians. So as I prepare for this episode to have this dialogue with you all, I wanted to make sure that everything I was learning was on par. And, coming from the subject matter experts who are yourselves, if you can let our listeners know what to expect from IPPS A, as well as the way forward with this design. And in preparing, I learned a couple things. I learned there's an app for IPPS A. I learned that you can download that app and use it on your phone, whether it's Apple or a Samsung device. I also learned that the system is to help manage talent, save costs, whether it's in IT or pay costs, and overall being a resource to improve transparency for soldiers. Does that sound about right, gentlemen?
Absolutely, sir. Yes. So here we are now. IPPS A, the Integrated Pay and Personnel System, Army, is which it stands for, is officially now live as of December 20th of 2022. This has been a project that's been in the making for many years that the Army's been working on. And as you stated, for those many reasons of why they've been working to get the system together, we are now at the point now where we are setting conditions for our as HR professionals across the Army to take care of the rest of the force in terms of their careers, working in terms of personnel and pay, and bringing it all together.
Right. So when I was on the website in bold letters, right, as soon as you get to the main portal, it says Release 3 is live for HR professionals. Can you elaborate on this for our listeners?
Yes.
So release with the IPPS A system. They were releasing them in incremental phases. So you had the release 1, release 2. Release 2 was released to our National Guard. So they're actually currently using IPPS A. So release 3, as they continue to release new updates to the system, they add new functionalities within those systems. Can
soldiers start using it now? And if so, how easy is it to navigate?
It is tentatively scheduled to start on the 17th of January. How easy to navigate? Well, it is very easy based upon the ability to go in multiple ways, whether you wanted to just do it on your work desktop, home desktop, or even your cell phone.
Okay.
So it's very easy to navigate.
So I was talking to one of the human resources technicians yesterday, and they explained how you can submit a leave form using IPPS A, basically from anywhere. You can check on different personnel actions. So I believe this is big for the community and for the soldiers at large. I think it gives access to them no matter where they are. They can see their process of what they submitted and track it. So when it comes to visibility and having something on a mobile app, I think this is huge for the way that technology is going. Being able to access it from your house, being able to access it no matter where you are, I think gives people that freedom, because some people have kids, they're out, they want to check on something or they forgot to submit it while they were at work. So having this as a resource is huge. So is this going to be anything like the old system Gears? You gentlemen remember that?
We do.
So is it going to be something like where you track, submit, there's an echelon that has to approve? How does it work?
So the difference between IPPS A and Gears, IPPS A is a bit more intuitive than Gears. So once a service member initiates a PAR request, a personnel action request.
Okay.
They can submit an action on their own. So once they submit the action, they'll be able to track that action as it flows through the process and as it moves through each of the, whether it's a reviewer, intermediate approver, or approver. They'll receive notifications upon each of those individuals that receive the action.
So ultimately, this sounds like an interface that combines a bunch of old, outdated, to transfer everything to be more modern and streamlined. So if you can summarize for that person who has never heard of IPPSA, how would you break that down in the most simplest of terms for them to understand?
Well, what I'd say is this is just your overall career system. It's going to encompass everything. So now that you have a hold on your actual career and being able to ensure that you're taking care of what you need to do. Now, so as we talk about your personnel services, so yes, so a PAR, what we used to use in the Army, known as the DA 4187, to submit an action, that is no longer needed because that PAR takes that place.
Really?
So we're working now, and we are in the 21st century, right? Where we're getting away from paper as much.
Okay.
So we want to utilize this system as a way to be able to better track, monitor, and ensure in a timely manner actions and requests are being taken care of.
So that sounds like it's streamlined. So if I'm a private and I wanted to initiate a leave form, I could use IPPSA for that, correct? If I wanted to, so what are the other benefits? If I wanted to submit a 4187, I would use specifically IPPSA for that? Or what happens if I submit the form and at the same time I submit that action in IPPSA? Is there going to be an overlap? Like, for example, a leave form. If I submit a leave form on paper and then try to submit it in IPPSA, do you foresee any challenges with that? Or will it kind of circumvent each other and only allow you to be deducted the days from IPPSA?
So the whole idea of IPPSA is to get away from submitting hard documents.
Okay.
Right. So once a service member submits an absence request, because the terminology in IPPSA changes too.
Oh, really?
A lot of the terms that we're so accustomed throughout the years, IPPSA changes that language.
Okay.
So once a service member submits an absence request, inside of the system, they will no longer need a DA-31. Once they submit a PAR, personnel actions request, they will no longer need a 4187.
So I should have prefaced with this earlier. Chief Bollinger and I met before I came to Korea. The EFMP system had just rolled out, and our family was the first to kind of beta test it for Fort Bragg. And there were issues. And I remember, trying to get a hold of someone at the unit because I was trying to get command sponsored, and I was trying to reach out to someone to help us get over here. And because the system had just rolled out, there were kinks. And what I'm alluding to is that whenever something of this magnitude rolls out, there's pretty much guaranteed to be hiccups and issues. Are there going to be tech support for people who have issues, or like myself, I'm going to have to email, Chief Bollinger, like, hey, could you please help out with this and push it forward? Is there going to be like tech support for people who have issues with IPPSA that you foresee? So
now moving forward here, the intent is if you have issues with the system that you can, as a service member, go into the system and submit a trouble ticket or help ticket, if you will, through what we call a CRM, a customer relations management help ticket. And so by submitting that will go to your S1 or G1 level, and they can further assist you and take care of your whatever issue you may be having. And whether that could be something that's related to what you talked about, your EFMP, and we can work with that from there. Or it could be something even technical. You may be having issues with the system itself when you try to go in and
glitching or shutting down.
Look at your orders.
Yeah,
that's all there. And if we cannot take care of it from our level, the system allows us to push it up to a higher tier, in order for it to get taken care of. But all in all, throughout this entire process, you will indeed be able to track it and see where it is that your request is at, and you will get an answer eventually. That's good. So there is a solution for having issues or if it glitches. There will be support on standby or a way to submit a trouble ticket. So I did not know that. That's really good to know. So overall,
with the way we're moving forward with technology and IPPSA being the user interface type deal, what are the pros and cons that you two gentlemen see when it comes to using IPPSA?
I'd say the cons are the language adjustment. So within the system, we have to adjust to the terminology that we're utilizing.
Are you talking about how a DA31 would be called something different?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, departments are basically our versions of organizations. So
okay.
in IPPSA, they're called departments, and we know them as UICs.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good, sir.
So when it comes to the speed of you thinking it may be pushed or a delay, because I understand like the website said how release 3 was out, things of that nature. Do you all foresee it getting pushed any longer, or you think it will be on time being released for the general public to use, being the soldiers?
IPPSA is here. It is absolutely here. And as mentioned before about the tentatively being released for all the users to be able to use on the 17th of January, this train is running, sir. And it's not stopping now that we HR professionals have been in the system already for almost a month now. So I just know that, as you mentioned before, things about if there's glitches, well, there will be glitches. Will there be problems? There have been some problems, but nothing of any magnitude that says, oh, this is just a disaster.
Right.
No, if anything, we wanted to have these glitches come about now, or problems come about now.
Right, and that's how you solve them.
Because we solved them, and then as we move forward, I know that this is going to help us as a force to better take care of our customers, which is our soldiers.
That's true. You got me sold. So with that said, is there anything that you want our users to and our listeners to basically know, anything that you wanted to put out as well when it comes to utilizing IPPSA or their way forward with it?
So utilizing IPPSA, it's said to be extremely intuitive. So if they ever have issues navigating, there are unlimited resources that are put out there. Like, earlier you spoke about YouTube channels. They have Facebook pages dedicated to it. Right. They have manuals. So in addition to the resources that we'll push out to the force, there are already available resources available to personnel to refer to if they have, questions or concerns about navigating within the system.
Gotcha. I appreciate your time, gentlemen. As we come to an end, I wanted to thank you both, Mr. Cannon and Chief Bollinger, for helping me to get a better understanding, not just myself, but also the listeners, of what IPPSA is, the way forward, the many uses that you can have utilizing the system, how there's going to be name changes. So don't get too comfortable, because if you know as a 4187 or DA31, it's going to be called something different when it comes to IPPSA. So that's good to kind of foreshadow and get our listeners to kind of be on the same wavelength when it comes to YouTube professionals, and also understanding the pros and cons. So most importantly, I think our listeners were able to understand the purpose and the direction that IPPSA, it's here, it's coming, and it's the way forward. So if you hadn't used it before, basically you go to the website, you can learn from there. There's YouTube videos that I saw, as well as training manuals, and your HR technicians also are able to provide training for your units and send you a copy of some training slides so you can kind of get spun up on that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can give us a thumbs up, share this video, tag a person that you think would be beneficial to learn and hear these two technicians talk about IPPSA. We have a YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as being able to listen to this podcast on all your favorite streaming platforms. Once again, Team 19, thank you for listening. Out.